are on. It's all day long, and we are about to run up a bag. I'm going to give you guys my bracket. I'm going to give you guys my national champion, and then also my 3 best plays for today's card. Let's get into it. We're about to make some money. It's time for March Madness. Let's have a time.
I love it, Noble. Noble, I also love your YouTube videos. I watched them while I was gone. That was fire.
But getting paid because yesterday we had a full sweep. Mike going under, that was just icing on the cake. Why are we going to go in such a weak AFC South? Unless we have the NBA Blowout Association.
Bang! Knicks take a 1-point lead with 13
When you hear the sirens, you know what that means.
You got barbecue back there, and you didn't invite me. Hurt my feelings.
What is up, my friends? It is your boy Noble Living back with another DYF Bets video where I'm breaking down my favorite picks and plays of the day as we try to get to the bad together and make that money. Happy March Madness to you guys. Yes, I am in the car today, but it's okay because we can still bet from anywhere that we are, and that's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to head to the casino, and my goal is to hit the sports books for everything they got with March Madness. I'm super excited. I am pumped. There's a lot of money to be made today, guys, so let's get into it. We've been red hot here on the channel. It's been 4 straight winning days for us here. Yesterday we actually went 3-2. We went 2-1 on the channel. I don't have the recap clip today, guys. I was driving all night, been moving all around crazy, but you can see we finished the night up yesterday 3-2. We're still up on the week, up $1,500 damn near, and then up to close to over $3,000 over the last 30 days. We've been in fuego here. 4 red hot days here that we've had here on the channel. So let's keep the momentum going, guys. I'm not here to boast or brag about how we're doing. I'm just here to try to help us make some money, and this is where it all comes down to. You can win a lot of money in conference tournaments. You can have a lot of fun during the year, but now this is where everything is on the line because March is here, and there's a lot of great games that you can see right here on the right side of the screen. High Point, Purdue, Montana, Wisconsin. We've got Louisville today. We got Houston. Hopefully you guys filled out your bracket. Now, I did create a video for you guys about like kind of my bracket prediction, and unfortunately I was not able to release it in time just because I had some issues internally with my team, but it is okay because I'm going to go through my bracket very quickly live for you guys while I also give you guys the picks. All right, so I'm gonna give you guys the picks. We're gonna lock in a few last futures, and then we're gonna go through our board today. So we're gonna kind of do it all in one thing. Okay, so it's gonna be kind of a mixture of a quick show here. We're gonna I'm trying to get done in less than 30 minutes, so bear with me. Hopefully I'm not going too long, and I'm gonna talk about upsets. I'm gonna talk about the 8-9 matchups, all that good jazz. Now, to get the day started with Louisville and Creighton, right? I had this game on my bracket. This was a very interesting game for me on the bracket. And I'm not going to lie to you guys. I lean Louisville here. So I'm going to take Louisville on the money line. I have them in my bracket as well, but I'm not going to give them out as an official play. I like Auburn here as well to obviously beat Alabama State. I like Duke here, right? So we're going to talk about some of the favorites that I do like. But the first one that I'm going to give you is our money line parlay of the day, because the money line parlays have been cashing for us. Those have been doing good, and that's going to fill in about 3 teams on the bracket. So for our first best bet of the day, Clemson money line, St. John's money line, UCLA money line. Those 3 teams, if you parlay them together, should get you to about plus 100 value. If you want to throw in like a 4th team to be able to get there, then you might want to do like Wisconsin early, Houston early. But it's tough now to do the money line parlays. We don't have as many conference games. We don't have 50, 60 games to choose from. We only have 10, so let's not be greedy because obviously in a few weeks we're not going to have a lot of games at all. So we got to choose our spots, and today I like Clemson on the money line against McNeese. Now, McNeese was a popular upset pick for some people, a 12-5 matchup, classic case, but the problem with the McNeese thing is, one, McNeese doesn't play a whole lot of competition throughout the season. A lot of people were on McNeese last year, including myself, and we saw how that came to eat them up terribly in the tournament. So that keeps me off of them for the first thing. But the second reason why I'm not a big fan of McNeese is because the Will Wade news that broke yesterday. I'm not a huge believer that, like, okay, the news means that they're not going to play good, because I think everybody knew that Will Wade was probably going to be leaving McNeese. He was only in McNeese because he got fired from LSU. And then also in the new transfer portal era, I don't know if coach is leaving. This glare is like really bothering me, guys. I'm sorry. There's nothing I can really do about it, but it's just I'm like Two-Face here. Maybe I'll lean over a little bit more this way. But But what I was saying was, in the transfer portal era, like, you're building a new team every year anyway, in a way. So it's not like, it's a little bit different than it's like, hey, you're losing all your recruits, all that stuff. So for me, I'm just not a big fan of this, all that, releasing the news of the new head coach and all that while McNeese still has a game to play. I have a future on Clemson to make the Final Four. Hopefully you guys do as well. I gave that out a few weeks ago. So we're going to lock in Clemson to get the win, and that's going to be another first-round win. Now, our second leg here is UCLA at minus 220 against Utah State. Now, I think you guys have seen the numbers that in the last 3 years, the Mountain West Conference is 2-15 against the spread or something like that, 2-12. They're terrible. They're terrible. We saw San Diego State got clapped by North Carolina. Utah State's a good team. They're a good team in their conference. And UCLA, guys, is a sleeper team for me. And I'm going to go to the bracket real quick, and I'm going to tell you how much of a sleeper team UCLA is for me. So where is UCLA here in the bracket? I think they're down here. So I like Tennessee to beat Wofford. We're going to talk about that game as well today. I like UCLA to beat Utah State, okay? We just spoke about Clemson beating McNeese. But I'm going to go off on a limb here, right? And I'm going to come back to this, and you guys are going to hear why I say this. I've got UCLA beating Tennessee. I've got UCLA to beating Tennessee. That's one of my first, huge upsets, from the standpoint of a very high seed. I got UCLA beating Tennessee. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit later, but that's how confident I am in this UCLA team. So if you just want to go with those two teams, be my guest. That's not bad. Minus 111. But we throw in St. John's here because now we can get to minus 101. And the win for us yesterday, even though we did lose on the Timberwolves, fuck the Timberwolves, even though we did lose on American, the injury, there's nothing we could do about the injury. Their best player went down. He barely even played the game, right? The best thing about yesterday for me, even though we lost on Texas Live, was we took American at minus 110 rather than minus 145. Or minus 150 on the money line. We saved ourselves $40 to $50 because of the money line parlays. So the people who are out there who've been tapped in with me, I'm looking here on the live stream to see how many people got tapped in, who've been tapped in every, week after week, Saturday, Sunday, conference tournament times, and you see the money line parlays, we're doing it to save money just in case. Now, obviously, you kind of can hedge off of your risk because you're taking 3 teams here and you might come down to one leg. But for me, I love Clemson here. I like UCLA. St. John's is the other team. I don't know if they're going to be the high seed that gets upset today. Omaha, great run. That's what we're locking in, all right? Second best bet of the day is going to be my first side of the day or first individual bet. No more money line parlays just because of what the board is looking like and the odds value. There's not really much there. If you can start playing around with first halves and all that stuff, but, I'm not even going to go there. So our second best bet of the day is going to be one of the first matchups that a lot of people have as okay, is this an upset pick or not? So let's scroll here to Missouri or Drake. Missouri and Drake. We can see Missouri 6.5-point favorites. Drake is 6.5-point underdogs. We've got a total at 133.5, right? If we go to the bracket here, let's see where this Drake and Missouri game is. I'm pretty sure it's on the west side here. Yes, I am. So let's fill out this bracket a little bit for you guys. So I'm filling it out live. I got Florida beating Norfolk, okay? I've got UConn beating Oklahoma. That is a toss-up game, but we can talk about that a little bit more tomorrow on the spread, but we'll see, okay? And then I've got Maryland here. I do have Colorado State beating Memphis just because of the injuries that Memphis has, but I'm not a big fan of why Colorado State is a favorite, okay? I've got Texas Tech tonight, and then I know a lot of people are on Drake. I'm not opposed to Drake. I love the story with Drake. But this is the thing. It's hard for me to lay the 6.5 points. The Missouri, the SEC, the offense, everything. It's just two differing styles. The clashing. I think it's going to be an issue. So this is what we're going to do, guys. Instead of taking Drake plus the points, I'm going to go Mizzou team total over 69.5. Now, the way that I look at this game is I do lean towards the over. 133.5 is a little bit low. And I get it. Drake is a slow-paced team. Let's go to KenPom real quickly. If you guys are unfamiliar with Drake, which you guys should be because we've talked about them plenty of times here on the channel, and they're Americans' darling right now. They have one of the longest win streaks in the country, 30-3. But this is the number that we got to look at. 364 in tempo. They're the slowest team in all of college basketball. Nobody plays slower. But they still have a very efficient offense, and they have a very good defense. So something has to give here. And when I look at this, and then I have to go look at Mizzou, a team that's 121st in tempo, so it's not the fastest, but their average possessions length on the offensive side is 55th, which means that they do not hold the ball long on the offensive side, and they're 5th in offensive efficiency in the SEC. I know we've been mad at the SEC. We were talking, like, I know they didn't deserve all the teams. But let's talk about that regular season. And to see a team that's 5th in offensive efficiency, 18th in field goal percentage, they don't turn over the ball. 47th in turnover percentage. But guess what they do? They cause turnovers on the defensive side. 44th in turnover percentage. And then here we go back to Drake real quick. Here we go back to Drake. What do they do on offense? 280th in turnover percentage. They turn over the ball, right? So I lean Mizzou. I'm taking Mizzou in my bracket. I don't think this is the 11-6 upset that a lot of people think. If you have Drake, shout out to them. If they win this game, I think it's because it's a high-scoring game. I believe that Mizzou is going to try to put their style and pace of play in there. Guess where this game is at? Wichita, which is basically a home game for Mizzou. And then you're telling me a team, if we go to team rankings real quick, in Mizzou, I don't think this is the right team rankings link that I should have pulled up, but it's okay, because this is average first half margin. Let's go to points per game. Mizzou is 5th in the country in points per game at 84.5. 84.5. Drake, if you look at their schedule, we're not going to get into it right now, they haven't played anybody of like Mizzou's caliber. But again, shout out to them. Shout out to the head coach. And there's speculation on that program as well, because I know his name's floating around all over the place about possibly leaving. He might be going to Iowa. So Mizzou, offense is the name of their game. They know what to do. Drake is going to try to slow it down. But I think the several environments, not just the home crowd, not just the experience, but I like Mizzou here today. And we're going to go team total over 69.5. We're just going to isolate it to the team total. That's my way of saying I don't want to touch the spread, because 6.5 is a lot. And this is a low total of 133.5. But I do lean the over as well. So for our third and final best bet of the day, and then we're going to kind of go back to the bracket here, is going to be a game that some people are probably just going to put in their bracket as like an automatic win, right? And it should be. But I do think that there are going to be some upsets. So here are a few stats for you guys, right? When you create your bracket. And these are a few stats. I got to find the sheet. Let's see. I have a lot of tabs open up here. Yeah, I don't have it. Okay. So one of the stats that I had read that when I was preparing for my bracket is that one of the top 4 seeds loses in the first round. So it's either going to be Auburn, Texas A&M, Iowa State, or Michigan State, Alabama, Wisconsin, Arizona, Duke. You guys get the point. So when you're filling out your bracket, when I'm filling out my bracket, I'm like, all right, which one of those teams is it going to be? And I'm going to talk about some of the other games that we have today. So let's just go down the board here before I dive into the third and final best bet. We've got Michigan and UC San Diego. A lot of people are on San Diego to upset Michigan. Not opposed to it. I do think Michigan's size is a problem for San Diego. San Diego has a very good offense, but they do not have the size, and I'm going to take Michigan. It's not the 12 matchup that I want to exploit. Now, a game in my original bracket, I'm going to be honest, I have Yale beating Texas A&M, but after doing further research, I do not know if it's going to happen just because of Texas A&M's size. But Yale has the 3-point shooting to be able to keep them in the game, and meanwhile Texas A&M does not have the shooting, which is why I like Yale. But I do believe the winner of this game, I do think Yale, if they win, they go to the Sweet 16. This is what I have in my original bracket, so I'm going to stay true to it. Okay? These games don't play until tomorrow, but we could talk about those here in a bit. I just want to kind of touch about the games that we have for today. Wisconsin and Montana. A lot of people think this could possibly be the 3 seed or one of the top 4 seeds that goes down. I have a Final Four future on Wisconsin. You guys know that. I don't think that this is the game. Montana's outclassed. I think Wisconsin covers the spread. I think this is a first half spread. Take Wisconsin first half, 7.5, 8.5, whatever it's at, and take that. And I believe they cover the spread. But speaking about first halves is what we want to look at, because it allows us to say this team has a chance of getting an upset, but they might fall a little bit short. They might run out of gas. That happens. There are a lot of teams that are in it. They keep the game close, but 10 minutes left to go, the better team puts their foot on the gas and they pull away. And I think that was what's going to happen tonight in the Tennessee-Wofford game. A lot of people on Tennessee. I like Tennessee, but I think they might lose today. I'm being honest. Wofford's good. And for my third best bet of the day, we're going to go Wofford first half plus 10.5. And I know it's like, Noble, why would you rock with Wofford? You guys know I'm biased to the SoCon first and foremost. I watch a lot of the SoCon. Wofford is good. I would take the first half at plus 10.5. That is a lot of points to say, I'm expecting you to win the first half by double digits, by 11 points. But also the reason why I like it is, let's go to KenPom real fast, and let's go look at this Wofford team. And I want to break this down because I spoke about them when they played Furman in the championship game, even though I faded them. This Wofford team is good offensively. We took the over for a specific reason in that game, because they're 69th in offensive efficiency. They're 75th in effective field goal percentage. They're 27th in offensive rebound percentage. They're 53rd in two-point percentage. Now, defensively, they're not the best, but the tempo can keep us in the game. And the beautiful part about it is, if you look at this Tennessee team, they also play pretty slow at 346 in tempo. Now, you might be saying to yourself, Noble, yes, you mentioned the offensive numbers for a SoCon team, but what about a Tennessee team that's ranked third in defensive efficiency, that plays in the SEC, number 2 in effective field goal percentage, and they don't give hardly any three-pointers with the number 1 rating right here? That's absolutely right. But what I'm looking at is this number right here. Defensively, they're 202nd in offensive rebounding percentage. What does that mean? They give a lot of offensive rebounds for a team with these type of defensive numbers. So, when we go back to Wofford real quick, and you notice that one of Wofford's strengths is offensive rebounding, 27th in offensive rebounding percentage. That's something that you fix going into halftime, where you say, man, we're getting killed on the boards. We got to fix that. You make the switches, you do the adjustments, you come out in the second half and you run away with it. But in the first half, it's what keeps you in a game. In the first half, you hitting a few three-pointers, and then Tennessee, they're good at defending the three-point line, but Wofford, they want to get the ball inside. They have the big man who shoots the ball underhanded. They run a very efficient offense. They have several players who average double digits, so it's not just one person you have to take away. They have a very good action that they run. And this is a team that can put points up on the board. You saw they put 92 up on Furman, 85 on VMI, 72 on ETSU, and these are all sequential days. So do they lose to Tennessee today? Probably. But I think the first half at plus 10.5 is a little bit too much for a team in Tennessee that when it comes down to March, you have to start looking at fading them. Rick Barnes, he's one of those tournament coaches that just does not know how to get it done. Let's just be honest. He's the worst against the spread of any coach in the last 5 years. I think his record is like 3. I have to look up the exact number. You guys, and the reason why I don't know all the numbers is because you guys see it when you scroll through Twitter. They put it up there. Bleacher Report. They put it up there. Barstool. You guys see it. You got to take that into account. I know it because I watch Rick Barnes every year, and I know he's one of those coaches that let you down, just like Bill Self. Bill Self's one of those guys that if they let you down, but the beautiful part about today is we have Bill Self versus John Calipari, 2 coaches that are both known for letting you down, so only one can let us down today. And my bet in that one is going to be Kansas to win. So that's kind of the ideology here. It's not only is Wofford a good offense, but we have to start looking at some of these coaches, some of these teams that'll repeat fades. And I'm not saying that they lose this game, but I don't know if they cover. And I just want to isolate it to the first half because I believe that this is a Tennessee team that's best built on adjustments rather than in the fly, in the game thing, like adjustments. And that's why Rick Barnes struggles so much against the spread. Because once his defense gets figured out, once the offense is not hitting shots, he does not adjust. He barely even calls timeouts. So these are things that you got to keep in mind. You keep in mind in your handicapping. So for today, guys, our 3 official best bets on the channel, and I will talk about the last remaining games here in a second, and I could finish my bracket for you guys real quickly. Let's go through it real quick. Wofford first half plus 10.5. We're gonna go Mizzou team total. Whoops. What did I just do there? Okay. Mizzou team total over 69.5. That's my way of just kind of playing that game. And then finally, we're going to go with our money line parlay of the day. It's Clemson and UCLA are the main legs, and then we threw in St. John's there to get us a little bit of better value. And if you want another leg in there, then I would go Wisconsin first half as well. For our other games on the board today, guys, let's just cover these real quickly. I'll give you my leans. I'll give you what I'm taking. And then any added plays will be here at Noble Living on the Action Network that I put in officially throughout the day. I got a two-team steam early with Louisville and Purdue. I think Purdue is one of the seeds that can go down to High Point, but the thing is, I don't know if High Point has a player that can keep up with Tracy Kaufman-Renn, and let's put some respect on Purdue's name. They have Braden Smith, who is the Conference Player of the Year, and Matt Painter, who is a hell of a coach, and they went to the National Championship game last year. So a lot of people are on High Point as an upset, but I would pump the brakes a little bit on that just because of what we're dealing with from an experience standpoint, and then also from a matchup standpoint. The matchup standpoint is why I have Wisconsin over Montana as well. I kind of touched about that game. Houston is Houston. And then let's see here. Auburn against Alabama State. We got Auburn there. Clemson over McNeese. We spoke about that. VCU, BYU. That is going to be the game of the day that a lot of people are on. In my bracket, I do have VCU beating BYU. And the reason why I do have that is because of VCU's defense. Now, I am a little bit concerned with how tight of a spread that we have here, but VCU's defense is 24th in defensive efficiency. They're 356 in average possession length. They are going to make you earn your buckets, and that is like literally the opposite of what BYU wants to do. So it literally is going to come down to which style of play gets their preference. Is it going to be offense? Is it going to be defense? And we know what BYU can do offensively. They run a very, very good offense. You wonder why the number one recruit, the Denja, whatever his name is, guy, why he signed with BYU. Not only is he going to get $7 million in NIL and more, but it's also because the head coach, I think he came from like the Jazz or he came from the NBA. So he runs a very NBA pro style type of offense. He knows he knows how to prepare you for the league, essentially. So it's going to be very good to see the conflicting styles, but this is the number one defense in the country in effective field goal percentage. They turn you over, 30th in turnover percentage. All these little things matter, and I think defense can rule the day in all honesty. So that's why I have VCU. But if you are on BYU, I'm not opposed to that because I can see that happening. So that'll probably be a live bet for me in all honesty. As I move through the board, I have Georgia beating Gonzaga in my bracket as well. Gonzaga is just a team that I typically fade in March. Let me kind of plug in my bracket while we talk about this. And the reason why that is because I like Gonzaga. I do. In years prior, they've been able to figure it out. But they just always seem to let you down. And this season, I don't know if it's you guys, they just seem to be missing a step. They won the West Coast Conference tournament. Shout out to them. But I just feel like they get like the luck of the draw every year with that because St. Mary's is the same team every single year as well. So it's just like you know what you're going against. And Mark Few's obviously been there for like ages, so it's just like just recruit against that. And that truthfully, that's why I have Vanderbilt beating St. Mary's in my bracket, is because St. Mary's, it's just like our goal is to like play really. It's like Virginia basketball with like B-level players. You get what I'm saying? So it's like, nah, that's not gonna get it done. That's not gonna get it done. So I like Vanderbilt's offense in this game to beat St. Mary's. I know that game's tomorrow, but I do lean VCU. That's my 11-6 upset. There's always an 11 seed that upsets a 6 seed. That's one of my 11-6 upsets. So do with that as you will. Let's see here as we go through the board. I said I had Georgia over Gonzaga, but again, I could see you taking Gonzaga, but I'm taking Georgia plus 6.5. But this is one of those games for me. Gonzaga gets out to a hot start where the spread's going to adjust to Georgia plus 9.5. Take that. Like last night, I was talking to my boy, and I was like, I have Texas on the money line. Should I take Xavier live at plus 7.5? He was like, nah, man, because I had lost a few bets earlier in the day betting baseball. So I was just like, you know what? Let me just chill for the night. But Xavier plus 7.5 cashed. So there are times that you can middle it. I have Texas A&M. I got that on the money line at plus 115, and now I have the chance to get Xavier at plus 7.5. And if I'm really feeling it or my bankroll has it, then you can put like a quarter of a unit or a tenth of a unit on the money line at plus 350, plus 400. You're going to get those opportunities in this tournament, my friends. But don't be so pressed looking for the underdog. Look at what happened last year in the tournament. A lot of favorites won. It was a lot of chalk. But guess what? Then this is what I like to say. The underdogs make the news, right? But the favorites, for every one underdog, there's like 5 to 6 favorites that get it done. So just keep that in mind. So while we have the Oakland that beats Kentucky last year, the NC State goes to the Final Four, we still have like 3 other number ones. We have a Final Four. We have UConn back-to-back champions who were the number one overall, who were the number one seed. A lot of people expected them to win, and they covered the spread 6-0 every game to the championship as a 1 seed. And they were big favorites sometimes. So don't just overlook, don't try to get too cute with it with some of these games. I know I got cute with it with Wofford and Tennessee. Hopefully that doesn't bite me in the ass. I told you guys I like Kansas against Arkansas. This is a money line play for me. I would try to find something to money line this with. The reason why Arkansas won, Calipari said they're, what's his name, Traore? I think he's not playing. One of their better players is not playing. Kansas has been a big disappointment this year, but they have the team. They have the experience. And this is Hunter Dickinson's last shot. Make it worth something, god damn it. Make it worth something. So I would take I'm taking Kansas in my bracket personally. But again, I can see why people are on Arkansas. I can see why people are in Arkansas. So let's go through here. Like I mentioned, I do have Yale in my bracket. But if you want to take Texas A&M, be my guest. I probably will stay off that game. I've got Mizzou, the team total. We got UCLA, St. John's. A lot of people on UC San Diego, but I mentioned I have Michigan, and then we got Texas Tech here. So that's what I have. So lastly, I'm going to zip through this bracket real quickly. I'm going to finish in 3 minutes, and then we're done. All right, here we go. And I'm just going to go region by region. Auburn, this is what I have in my bracket. Auburn over Louisville. Auburn over Yale. I've got Ole Miss over North Carolina. I've got Iowa State beating Lipscomb, but I do think Lipscomb can beat Iowa State. That is an upset pick that I do think can happen, okay? I do have Marquette over New Mexico, and I do have Michigan State over Bryant. You heard it here first. Bryant could beat Michigan State. Bryant is big. They have the size. They have the athleticism to keep with Tom Izzo. Tom Izzo's teams can't really shoot. They hit threes, all right, cool. But Bryant, don't be shocked if they actually may upset Michigan State. Here we go here. Second round, I'm going to take Marquette here. I think they actually beat Michigan State. And then I got Ole Miss here. And then we already said I've got Ole Miss here. And then I actually do have Ole Miss beating Auburn. I like Auburn, Ole Miss. I do have them in my Final Four. I do not have a future on them in my Final Four. I actually do have a future on Mississippi State, but not Ole Miss. But I do like Ole Miss. I'm a big Chris Beard fan. He's a tournament head coach. Remember his days back in Texas Tech? In 2019, they went to the tournament. I mean, not to the tournament, to the national championship game against Virginia. And then also keep in mind that he was building that Texas program before Grady Kennedy, the current head coach, or who just got fired yesterday, before he took over because of the sexual allegations. But Chris Beard, he was having them boys as competitors. And I think this team with Ole Miss this year are sleepers. This is just my bracket. Up to you guys to give me your opinions. Let me check the comments real quickly. Just make sure no one's chatting here. Yeah, if you guys have any comments on any of the picks, just let me know. Just going to go through the bracket real quick. Again, I do have a YouTube video coming out on my whole reasoning per seed, so feel free to check that out. I do apologize that I didn't get it out in time. We did have some internal issues, just some personal issues with our team, but it's all good. We're going to get that out, guys. So for the West Conference here, or West region, we've got Florida, UConn. I can see why people are on Oklahoma, but I just have to defend the defending champs and Dan Hurley here, okay? But I think that's where the run comes to an end because I'm going to take Florida. Colorado State over Memphis just because of the injuries that Memphis has. I'm just not a fan of Colorado State opening up as favorites on the books. Maryland, I'm taking them, and I'm going to take them to advance to the next round as well. I got Mizzou over Drake, Texas Tech, and I've got Mizzou over Texas Tech. I think the offense is strong. That's why I just think the offense is strong, man. I'm not buying the Texas Tech Kool-Aid. They could lose today. I got Kansas, St. John's here, and then St. John's beating Kansas. I got St. John's over Mizzou. I've got Florida against St. John's. I think Mizzou can beat St. John's, though, because of the offense, but that's neither here nor there. Making to the Final Four, give me Florida. I know it's a tough one. I know it's a 1 seed, but listen, Florida's good, man. They are freaking good. Top to bottom. They have 2 of everything. Somebody said they're the Noah's Ark of college basketball. I like that because they have 2 of everything. 2 centers, 2 power forwards, 2 shooting guards, they are built. So it's going to be tough to beat them. I've got Duke here. I've got Mississippi State in the East region. That's a toss-up game for most people, but again, we have a future on Mississippi State. I do like Mississippi State here. I can see Liberty beating Oregon. I can see it, but Oregon is just really good against the spread. Dana Altman, 7-0 against the number on the first round. They're tough, and Liberty has just had way too many close calls for me this year. Now, this is the game that a lot of people are going to be like, flip a coin. I think Arizona can beat Akron, but because it's going to be a very high-scoring game, I think the final score of this game is 95-92. I'm taking Akron. I think they can get it done. Caleb Love, he has to hit shots. If he goes 3 of 11 from the three-point line, then we have an issue. but I'm going to take Akron just for the fun of it. But if you have Arizona, I'm not opposed to it. VCU, BYU, like I mentioned before, why I like VCU, Wisconsin, Vanderbilt, Alabama. Let's keep moving here. We got Mississippi State against Duke. I think this is where the run ends for Duke. I'm being honest. I'm taking Mississippi State, and I'm not saying that just because I have a Final Four future. I'm saying that because of Cooper Flagg's injury, and I'm saying that because he's going to come back in this game. He's not going to have a rhythm because he hasn't played in 2 weeks since the injury, and he's going to throw it off. Now, this team, they gelled, they meshed, they got it together to win the ACC tournament. Kudos to them. But I heard that he's not going to be playing this game tomorrow, and now you got to come back on Sunday to go play against a Mississippi State team that likes to grind it out, likes to make it sloppy, likes to make it messy. That's my prediction. They're the first 1 seed to drop. The second one here, we're going to go with Oregon. And then we're going to go with Wisconsin. We're going to go with Alabama. I actually can see Vanderbilt beating Alabama here, though. The injuries with Alabama is going to catch up to them at some point, so I'm going to take Wisconsin here. And then Mississippi State, Oregon, we can take Oregon here. And then finally, we got Wisconsin here in the Final Four for me over Oregon. So this is what I got. Ole Miss, Florida, Wisconsin in the Final Four. Finally, we got Houston grabbing the win here. Clemson, we got Purdue here. We've got Xavier here. We've got Kentucky here. But I can see Kentucky beating Troy. The reason why we've got Xavier here so confidently is because one of the first 4 teams has advanced every single year, 15 of the last 16 years. So if it's not going to be North Carolina because I will miss my Final Four, then it has to be Xavier. As we move, we got UCLA over Utah State, and then we got Tennessee over Wofford. As we move on, we got Houston over Georgia. I'm going to take Clemson over Purdue. I'm going to take Xavier again. Why? Because one of the first 4 teams that made it to the Sweet 16, I don't know the exact number. It's going to be in my video, but I'm taking Xavier there. And then if it was going to be Texas, it would have been Texas. I said whoever won this game was going to be the team. So that's what I have. And then we got UCLA beating Tennessee. That's my personal hot take because of the UCLA's defense. I believe it can cause problems for Tennessee, and Tennessee's just one of those teams where they end up going cold from the field at some point, and it's going to hurt them. In this game, I'm going to take UCLA over Xavier, and then I'm going to take Houston over Clemson, and then I'm going to take Houston. Houston is fucking good, and that is my Final Four. Ole Miss, Florida, Wisconsin, Houston. I'm taking the 2-1 seeds. I know it's chalk, but the number 1 seed has won 13 of the last 17 tournaments, including, I think, 4 of the last 5 years or something like that. And then the best team in the country this year for me, and it is all contingent on if Mr. Jawan Roberts plays. But I have a national championship ticket on Houston to win the national championship. So we will lock that in here, my friends, as one of our future odds. I do have the exact NCAA future as well, and I did take a future on Florida just to hedge it. But we'll take Houston at plus 600 for a quarter unit to win the national championship. The difference between this year's Houston teams and years prior is they have several different guys who can get it to you, who can give it to you. Uzan is one of the best pickups I've probably ever seen from the transfer portal. Jawan Roberts is just an interior menace, and he can go get you 20 if he needs to. And then they obviously got the sharpshooter in Snyder, I think his name is, and then you got Cryer as well, and he can give you 20 points. Any guy. The years prior, Houston didn't have the offense. Last year, it was all Jamal Shed. So if he went down with an injury, which he did, or a team took him out the game, then they were in trouble, and that's what happened. But this year, that's not the case. And obviously, the same Calvin Sampson defense, that works at times. And I think this is a year, it's for them very similar to what we saw from like Virginia. They have the shooters to be able to do it, but the defense is what starts everything. Now, Florida is good enough to beat them, and Florida is good enough to beat any team in the country. And there would be my other pick to win the national championship, in all honesty. They're the 2 best teams in the country. They're the deepest teams in the country. The difference is Florida is very offensively heavy, while Houston's defensively heavy. So I think in this case, in a national championship, you got to go with the defensive-minded team. That's what I'm rocking with. That is my bracket, guys, officially what I had. So I got a few upsets in there. And then, again, I'm going to have a video coming out officially on the channel where I'm breaking down why I took what in each round. So feel free to check that out when that drops. I appreciate y'all tapping in. I know it was a little bit longer of an episode today, but March Madness is here, guys. I'm excited. I'm about to go to the casino to make some money. But these are the 3 parlays that we have locked in, and if you're still tapping in live, I appreciate you. The other one that I've locked in as well is Louisville on the money line and Purdue on the money line, and that gets you to plus 118. So that is another early money line parlay that I've thrown together. Again, if you don't go against your bracket, but this is another thing too for my people who are still here, I appreciate y'all. This is another thing. You can do Splash Sports Survivor pools. You can do office tournament brackets, right? That's your way of hedging. Like for me, I will do like an office pool bracket, or I'll do like a pick 'em, so I get to choose every pick. And that's the game where I'll have High Point over Purdue. And if I win that bracket, then guess what? I win maybe $500, $1,000, whatever the payout is. But here, when I'm betting the game individually, guess what? I might not need to do High Point to upset Purdue. Or I might just do Purdue on the money line, and I could do High Point plus points. But, use some different strategies. Don't just look at the lines. Look at team totals as well. Look at first halves. Look at it all, guys. There's a lot of opportunities. I'm going to be posting my plays for y'all, so this way we can run up the bag, all right? Well, there's a lot of money to be made. Let's have a time. Let's practice bankroll management discipline. Thank you, guys, man. I'm about to go get in this money, about to go to this casino. I'll see y'all tomorrow, all right? We'll talk some more sports, and let's have a day. Later, gang.